right, so we are gonna do an update on my two puppies, Toph and Kilo. So Toph will turn 11 months tomorrow, August 31st. And I got her when she was 12 weeks old. I got her from Walid Malouf up in New York, Barrique's Malinois. She's been quite the dog to transfer learning and processes, and the way that she learns has been quite the challenge, actually. She's been a harder puppy to train in a lot of regards. She has a quitting attitude, and I had to work through a lot of quitting. So in the beginning, I didn't teach commands like I typically would. I didn't teach her to come or to sit or to down, anything like that for quite a while. I worked on different things like reward processes. So I taught her how to get food from many different ways, from a treat and train to my hand to a clack board. I taught her to understand the box. I taught her how to understand a dopamine box. I taught her articles for tracking, and then I taught her how to run blinds in any configuration. Didn't do a ton of ball work early because I didn't want them to be so high in drive that it would create a problem later on. Although the bite work that I have done with her, she's got so much drive she didn't want to bark in the beginning. So we had to transition and work out some of that. We're just starting to do some blind work now, teaching her to get in the blind, and she's doing pretty well. She just was really a quitter, and she can get really cloudy if there's any chaining of commands. So about 3 weeks ago, I started to teach her commands, the down, sit. In the early stages, her name meant to come to me, but now I'm teaching her here. She's going to be in German where Kilo's going to be in English, and I've worked on tracking really hard in the last month, and her tracking is really pretty good. Not as good as Kilo's to some regard, but both dogs have their strengths and weaknesses. Where she's been really weak with any type of pressure, she likes to quit. Kilo loves pressure. He loves a ton of pressure, so on the 2nd, he will be 10 months. He's a month behind her, a month and a day. So he's learned and picked up everything really fast. He had very little ball drive to start, but I knew that would come because of the breeding, and my breeder explained all that. So at first it was a little sketchy, but I knew it would come. And he has tremendous ball drive now. He has more ball drive than Toph does, and she came out of the box with ball drive. Both dogs have really good food drive. And I did a ton of training on their environmentals where they understand a lot of environmental pressure, engine sounds, people, places, things, anything imaginable. I've put them through a lot to see how they would deal with that pressure, because they're still going through fear stages, and there's still going to be some of that happening, you know, throughout the first year and a half. So we got a little bit to go there. I'm hoping to get their BH right around 2 years old. 18 months to 2 years old, I would like to be done with it right around the 18-month mark, and then start working on getting their ones done pretty fast. Although speed isn't the goal here, quality is, so it just depends on how fast they pick everything up. Kilo is doing really well. He has a problem on the side where he's not a very compliant dog with some of his pack drive. He wants to be pretty selfish. So where Toph will out immediately on anything, she'll drop it because she understands more is coming. He will fight to out a little bit, which is somewhat typical, but not with my training program. I typically don't have any problems with that. So we fixed a lot of that. They're really stable around other dogs. Kilo's going to be the most stable dog that I have. In regards, he'll push through the quitting. He's got a good attitude. He wants to figure it out. He doesn't get stalled out with chaining things, and she will get past all that, and she'll be really good at the end of the day. They're just two very different dogs character-wise. And it's great from a training standpoint because it's teaching me so much, whereas if you have two dogs that aren't very close in age, the difference is you treat it differently. So when they're really close in age, I can really see the characters and the different characters that they have and how they're learning, and then try to direct that the best way possible to get the result that I want. And I've took a very different approach to these two dogs that I did in the past with my my Malinois Sioux and my Dutch Shepherd Lando, because those were the first dogs that I really did a lot in IGP or IPO or Schutzen, whatever we want to call it. So I'm doing a ton of I did a lot of free shaping early on, and now I'm starting to add some pressure in there to the commands and to get them to really learn the commands and starting to chain some things together. And that always complicates things when you bring new stuff in. So this is the journey that I'm on, and I'm going to do my best to document it and to see where I can go with it and how far I can go with these two dogs. No matter what, I'm not going to quit on them unless there's an injury, of course, or they can't continue. But it'll be interesting to see how far I can take each dog and what their strengths are when they hit 4 years old and what their weaknesses are. And my goal is to work with them and not against them and try to bring the happiest, most powerful dog I can on the field. So hopefully we'll get there, and everybody will be intact and everything will be great. And we'll be giving updates we'll be giving updates periodically and letting you know how they're doing. And now that we're going to have a lot more videos and stuff coming out, it's going to be a lot of obedience and a lot of shaping the obedience and getting it to where I want to get it. And so I guess the critiquing will begin. Thanks for watching.